Welcome to the Not a podcast starring Jackman, producer extraordinaire.
That's right.
Bart Pietrzak, CEO. No, just owner. I'm the owner of Project Power Gym. I was going to make up some more acronyms, but it's not necessary. I don't need to waste people's times with that shit.
BP?
Yeah, you know.
You one-stop shop for the gas?
Okay, all right. You know, when I was little, I thought that had something to do with my family because I had my initials. That's how smart I was as a child.
Are the Polish involved in the oil game
much?
much?
Fucking in the potato game. if you make fucking oil out of potatoes.
There you go.
Maybe. What's up, dude? What's new?
Yeah, we got, this past weekend I just hosted so I've got this kind of group of guys that I was telling you about, and we hosted a kind of a networking event, kind of a Christmas party deal.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone kind of brought a few people outside of their network into this little party, and it went great, and it went really, really well.
Sorry I couldn't attend.
It's
I
all right.
apologize. The
It's all right.
S2 had a open house for like invite only thing.
Kind of exclusive.
Kind of a big deal.
Whoa, damn. Boy.
Yeah. Anyway, how was it? Was good. It was nice. Did you learn something?
It went great. Yeah. It's an interesting lesson in like how to shuffle people around a little bit and how to
What do you mean?
how to like get people to start talk like, ooh, this person should be talking to this person should be talking to this person.
Like a networking thing?
Yeah, in a networking sense, like these people, you know, like the treasurer talking to, you know, someone on the neighborhood board or something to that extent, right? Like it's like, oh, pair those two up and have them talk for a little bit. Like it's
Because like you would meet someone be like, oh, my friend
right.
deals with this. You should talk to my friend.
Yep.
And then you'd walk over and introduce them and be
Yep.
like, hey, this guy's the yin to your yang.
Right. Exactly.
And then did magic happen?
And then magic happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was great. It's I think we're gonna host more and more of those. So.
You know, I've never done a networking thing in my entire life. I've been invited to cajillions, and I've never participated.
What is that?
Because they think they're weird.
Yeah, handing out business cards. And
I
stuff.
mean, I just the remember how we always talk about like organic, right? When you're at a networking thing, what are you trying to do? You're trying to spread yourself. So, in my capacity of understanding, for me, it's a whole bunch of people seeing like who they not say necessarily take advantage of, but like it's about them. I'm trying to get my name out. So I want to talk to as many people as possible and impress as many people as possible so that I can get my name out. And everyone's doing that same thing. Like if your goal was to go to this networking thing and like, let me learn about someone who might be able to help my business versus I want to go out there so I can make more business for myself.
Yeah, it was less that. More the former than the latter.
Mm-hmm. So really it was more like, let me learn some shit.
It's like, here's a bunch of people doing stuff. Let's all get in the same room and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying that my stance is right on the subject. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from and like what I've thought my whole life. I don't know, dude. I just get uncomfortable with like forcing shit. I don't know. It's not my jam. Like if you and I don't know, shoot the shit at a gas station and it comes up and like like something happens, like you learn what I do or I learn what you do and I go, oh my God, like that's so fucking awesome. Like for me, that's a much stronger connection than if 200 people walk into a convention center and try to see where they can make connections.
Stronger?
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think it just depends on...
I'm sure there's a fucking tons of things it depends on. I know it does. I'm telling you my feelings on the subject. My perception of networking events for me just make me itchy.
Yeah, there's a negative connotation around that term for sure.
Yeah, and I don't have any experiences with it because I've never put myself into the shoes of trying. So this is just pure speculative.
Speculative?
Yeah.
I think that's a word. I don't know.
It is now.
There we go.
Yeah, got it.
Cool. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't even think I talked to anyone about my business actually.
At all?
No.
So would you say it was a benefit for you to have been there?
Yeah, it's just getting around the right, getting around the right people, being familiar with people that are doing things, and like just building a relationship. And like if there's nothing that comes from it,
but there's always something that comes from it, and that's like I think over the years, what I've learned, and maybe why my stance on these networking events, quote unquote, is probably not. I haven't visited my feelings on the subject for a very long time, so these are probably antiquated feelings on the subject. But yeah, because there's never a waste of interaction. No interaction's ever a waste. No experience is ever a waste, really. There's always something to learn or something to gain or an experience to have or a relationship to build that you may never, ever, ever, ever think can flourish into something until it does. And you go, holy shit, how did those dots connect? Steve Jobs says you can't connect dots looking forward. You can only connect dots looking backwards. He took a calligraphy class in college for shits and giggles. And one of the most distinguishing factors of his Microsoft desktop was the calligraphy, or the I think it's the word, calligraphy. Typography. Maybe that's one. The font. Okay, he was able to change the font of the shit, which made his look so much different than all the other operating systems. And he contributes a lot of his success to a typography class that he took in college for shits and giggles. And when he was taking that class, he never thought it would amount to the reason why his operating system would be chosen amongst all the other ones.
Was class or college, school in general, was that different back then when he was there and more valuable, or is he just like an exceptional person that was able to take value out of everything that he learned?
I can't talk on how valuable college was in the 70s because I wasn't alive, so I have no fucking clue. And if you thought I was alive, fuck you, bro.
Yeah, I thought you were in college in the 70s.
Right. But what I can say is a human being that's resourceful, like we talked about last episode, a resourceful, problem-solving human being always looks at something as ammunition to be able to solve a future problem that they may not know about yet, right? Mm-hmm. So kind of like a hoarder, you're a hoarder of experiences. You hoard experiences, never knowing which of those in your tool belt will come in handy when you try to MacGyver an answer to a question that you don't know yet. So instead of holding on to actual objects, try to have experiences.
Yeah, how should I be picking out what experiences I have in order to fill my tool belt with their...
I feel like when you're younger, you just fucking shotgun shell that shit. And you just fucking go any way you can. Any opportunity you have. I feel like the younger you are, the less responsibilities you have, the less repercussions you have of your choices, technically. Maybe not that. Maybe you have less to lose, right? You don't have a mortgage and kids and this and that and all the other responsibilities. So I feel like if it sounds interesting to you, try it. If I have the experience, whether you can connect it to, quote unquote, a meaningful reason or not, and you'll be super surprised on when that will come in handy down the road. And oftentimes I feel like, if you ever have known someone who's like street smart or like, I really think that's all that it is. It's just they have experiences with things, and when things come up, they're like, "Oh yeah, just press this and move it over here." I'm like, "How the fuck did you know how to do that?" Well, when I was 8, like, I fell down a well and I was able to get out because I pushed this thing, and right. So like, if you didn't ever think like maybe going down the well won't help me in the future, like kids don't think that. I think that's why humans. Maybe this is it. I'm just thinking as we go. Maybe that's why children have such an imagination is because they're not bogged down by the does this make sense to do and how does this benefit me, right? My daughter, I was walking with her through the zoo yesterday. We're having a great fucking time, and like she's holding my hand, we're walking, and like a curb comes up and she jumps on the curb and just walks the tightrope of the curb and then jumps off. Like why? Because she wanted to fucking have fun. She just wanted to do something. Like that's what she wanted to do. She didn't go like, oh, this will help me with my balance down the road. And when I'm playing volleyball collegiately, I'll be able to dive and not lose my balance. She didn't think any of that shit. She just goes, this was fun to do. I want to do it. Let's see what happens. And we lose that. Partially, I think school has a lot to do with why we lose that, because they constantly tell you, this, then that, this, then that. If you do this, then you'll have this. If you do this, then you'll have this. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? And the answer of I want to, or it feels fun, or I'm enjoying myself isn't sufficient. It's like that's not good enough for some reason. Because I want to isn't a good enough reason. Because they're unable to control because I want to. Right? If you can predetermine the direction that people go, it's very easy to keep them in that boundary because you can very easily see what's outside that boundary of that direction. But if you're directionless and you're just trying to, gain experiences, how are you going to tell that person not to do something? But I want to. It's the same thing like with my little daughter. If she's going to hurt herself doing what she's going to be doing, if she's going to hurt herself bad, sometimes I let her hurt herself. Mm-hmm. Right? She got to learn. Pain is the best teacher you can have. But along the way, again, like we get, you know what it is? It's because people decide what they think they want early. Like a lot of, I think, our youth is about figuring out what you want. Figuring out what you want. Figure out what you want. What do you want to be? 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 What do you want? And because that decision is forced, I think then you isolate yourself from experiences because now everything just got streamlined into that one direction that you've been forced to define. I went to college. I didn't know what major I wanted. I didn't know a fucking clue, dude. I was the most lost human being on the face of the planet. Well, what do you want to do for a living? I don't know. What are my options? Anything. No, because I have to choose courses. So it's not anything. I have to choose these lines that you guys have. Right? None of these lines sound good to me. Yeah, but you got to pick one. Can I just take classes until I figure it out? Okay, so you're undecided. Okay, sure, I'll be undecided. And then lo and behold, what happened was I learned what I loved doing all day long. And I just found something that looked like that, which is what Supplement Superstores was for me. I love fitness. I just fucking love working out. I love the grind. I love hard work. I love pushing yourself. I love failing, I guess, to a degree. I love all of it. And I'm like, there's no corporate place I can go to do that. Not really. There's no major I can take. You're either going to be a doctor of movement or you're going to be a gym teacher. There's always a vocation. But I just like fitness. What's just fitness? No, that's not specific enough. You need a specific thing. So I'm like, well, supplements, this store sells supplements and everyone inside of it likes talking about fitness. So I'll just fucking do that. Cable snapped.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be right back.
All right. That's to me it seems and yeah, we won't have to stick around the school subject for too long, but school doesn't teach you to be a lifelong learner. It just teaches you to take the test, get the grade.
Our school, U.S. school, I don't know how any other country's schools are put together, but I was made to feel like a loser my entire school career because I wasn't interested in the things they wanted me to do. I wasn't interested in sitting the whole fucking day. I wasn't interested in, they kept making me feel like the decisions I was making in school was going to undoubtedly, for sure, 100% make me a broke loser piece of shit because I couldn't, remember the dates of some certain shit, maybe because I didn't try to be the best diorama in the fucking class, because I didn't they kept yo, you're just wasting your life away. I'm fucking 12. I'm not wasting my life away. Are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. 100%.
It's wild to me. On the other hand, though, I don't have a solution for it. I don't, because if I'm going to organize education, if I'm going to organize schooling, there has to be boundaries and there has to be, requisites, and how do you measure and how do you know if you're doing a good job? If you're lifting weights, well, that's how you measure, right? Are you faster at lifting the weight? Can you lift heavier weight? Can you lift the weight without as much rest? There's very easy metrics. But when it comes to education or progressing a little life into a big life, or a young life into an older life, like, how do you judge if you're doing a good job with it? Do you just ask the child how happy it is? Well, a child, unfortunately, doesn't really have a big scope of what happiness is because it's very short-lived. It's very right now, right? That kid would be much more happier with a lollipop than it would with understanding its own direction in life, you know? So it's a daunting task for sure, of which I don't really necessarily have an answer. And I'm not going to pretend that I know how to change the entire America's school system. But what I can tell you is to make kids that have energy and that have the ability to talk and to have the ability to create and be creative and imaginative, to make them feel like they're a fucking loser because they don't feel like sitting down and taking a 150 question test. Like, there is not one standardized test I completed ever in my entire career. Really? Never. Did I fill in all the bubbles? Fuck yeah, I filled in all the bubbles. Yeah. Did I read all the questions? Absolutely not. There is not one true test of my intellect ever taken. Because it was fucking stupid. I hated it. I hated every second of it. I hated that you wanted me to do it and I had to do it. Like, dude, just, I don't know, man. But again, am I an outlier? If we set up a school system so that I would be good at it, would we then fuck up the majority of people?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Why?
Because the way the school system is now, it's putting cogs into a machine. It just to fit what the 1960s version of the world is supposed to be, not what the 2020.
Okay. But let me unpopular opinion you real quick. If everyone does what you do and I do, and what we deem to be successful and happy and fulfilling, are there people out there that feel that way about digging ditches and pouring concrete and doing roofs? Are there people who feel fulfilled because they put up siding or they do plumbing?
Yeah, one in a million. Like, there's a few people that like enjoy that probably.
And I'm not talking negative on the service professions. Yeah. I'm not saying that, or that entire industry, because we will literally crumble as an entire society if we don't have very intellectual, hardworking motherfuckers in those crafts.
Right.
But the way shit is set up right now, those crafts are like where people go because of our school system saying that you're not good enough to be a doctor or a lawyer, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, there are people, I know one personally that fucking loves plumbing. Like, the guy's fucking great at it. He loves doing it. And it's like his thing. Like, he truly enjoys it for whatever fucking reason. And it's awesome, right? But you don't, at 12 years old, get told, like, one day you can be a plumber. One day you can have your own plumbing company. Like, you don't get told that. You get told, if you don't do this fucking homework, you'll end up a plumber. And so, like, there's this huge connotation through school that somehow the fucking service industry like that is like a fallback. Or if you don't do good, you'll end up doing concrete all day long. And, like, I think that's how some people fall into it, because they think poorly of themselves, or because they, were an ex or, student that didn't do well. They're like, well, I guess I'm going to go pour concrete. And they fucking hate it. Right? But if that same guy was allowed to be a painter, or, I don't know. I'm just saying, like we because I don't know, maybe money, because some professions make more money than other professions. Like, we deem that to be the ultimate goal of schooling, is you want to exit out of this process and then go into a vocation that gives you the most money. Okay, but even that is fucked up, because what gives you the most money technically over time is an entrepreneur who doesn't need school at all. Right? So the whole system is fucking broken. Because if you fuck up the system, you'll end up a plumber. Well, because no one wants to end up a plumber now, guess who makes a fuckload of money?
Plumbers.
Plumbers make a shit ton of money right now.
Yeah.
Electricians, plumbers, contractors.
But it's not sexy.
But it's not what you go to school for. You do it so you don't end up a plumber. Yeah, well, that plumber makes 3 times as much as me, and I went to school for 8 years to be a master teacher. You know?
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing?
And you're $100,000 in debt.
In debt.
Yeah.
In Poland, in Europe, you go to trade school, and that is literally okay. Like, there is a huge demographic of the population that goes to trade school right out of high school, sometimes during high school. And it's like they decided at 15 or 16 that that's what they wanted to do. And it's not looked down upon as much, I don't think, as it is here in America.
What is it about America? Like, what is it about our culture?
I don't know, dude. But we were founded on hard work. Blue collar was like our definition for a while, no?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I wasn't old enough to fucking obviously see any of that, but from everything that I hear and everyone that's talking, like the blue collar thing is our thing, Pittsburgh and fucking St. Louis was a huge hub of manufacturing, and like we made shit in America, and we had factory workers and all that stuff. So what sparked all this is when you said, we're trying to make cogs in a machine. We need cogs in a machine.
Yeah.
We need factory workers. We need ditch diggers. We need contractors. We need people who pour concrete. We need roofers. We need electricians. We need plumbers. We need, quote unquote, what they deem cogs in a wheel. But we don't need them to feel like cogs in a wheel. You shouldn't feel like a cog in a wheel when you work in a factory. Because
go on.
Go ahead.
Well, even less so those. The cogs in the machine that I'm talking about are like the people that are running Excel spreadsheets, and
we need those guys too.
But like we aren't going to need those guys in like 5 years.
No doubt. I mean, but then we'll need something else to run the AI that does their job. The printing press was supposed to be the demise of the world. Back when people, had to like manufacture books and newspapers, however they did it before a printing press. But the printing press took, I don't know how many jobs, but a fucking lot. Yeah. It was a giant shift in but someone had to run the machine. Someone had to, so, but what it seems like it's happening because our technology is advancing so much is we're emphasizing the white collar type stuff and de-emphasizing the blue collar type stuff. Why? I don't know. Because especially nowadays, again, blue collar is now becoming much more valuable because there's so little of them out there. And so now they're being paid higher sums of money. And if you're a good blue collar, you're making hella good fucking money. Yeah. Right? I mean, I get bids for contracting work here and I go, are you kidding me? $180 an hour? Are you fucking serious? Right. Well, you can say no to mine. His is 185. Theirs is 195. Theirs is 150, but they do dog shit work.
Yeah, and when you're contracting out or getting contractor work, how do you pick like who you're going to go with? Is it off of commodities and pricing?
That's ever changing, dude. Because when I first started, it was straight price, but that taught me that taught me why it's price. Gotcha. Listen, when you make decisions on building something, you have to be very honest with yourself with what you have at your disposal and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay. Yeah. I knew I didn't have endless funds to open this. I had a very finite amount of funds, and I had to keep it under that budget. So again, I had to be very resourceful. So I took the cheapest bid I could from the most reliable source I could. I asked my friends who asked their friends, and this was all, character knowing other character connections. Like we said, networking earlier. I know a guy that knows a guy. My friend's a good architect. He has a guy who does his construction. Let me join you two up together, and maybe he can help you with your project. That's how that started, right? He also knew that my budget was tight, so he did it on a budget. Well, when you do it on a budget, there's a lot of T's that don't get crossed and I's that don't get dotted. And so then I have to pick up the slack with my time and effort so that I can fit it in the budget, right? If you're the type of person that wants to just give someone money and it be turnkey and it be done, don't pick the cheapest bid. Pick the bid that you can then discuss with that guy, that person, and you can paint the final product you're expecting very vividly, and they say, yes, for this price, that is what you will get. Because I did not do that. I did not have that understanding. In my mind, it was, I give you this much money and it will be exactly what I asked for. Yeah. But it can't be. Because if it's exactly what you asked for, it'd be $100,000 more than you gave me. Right? So because it's not going to be $100,000 more, let's find the spots that aren't going to be tip-top buttoned up. And then you're going to have to do the rest. And you have to be okay with that if budget is an issue. Now, if budget is not an issue, then it's all about, can this person understand your vision very clearly? And for me, photographers, contractors, anyone who's creating something out of nothing, that I think would be the most desirable trait. If I go with a photographer into the woods and the photographer asks me what kind of pictures I would like to take, I would like to generally tell them what I'm trying to look like, or like the landscape, or like I want to have nice in the forest family photos. And I would like for them to be so creative and so relatable and so understanding of the human condition that they take that little piece of information and know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, if they need clarification, they need to know which questions to ask so that when I answer them, that gets me exactly what I want. But anybody, like, I have had experiences in the past with photographers that are like, okay, what do you want to do next? And I'm like, bro, if I had the answers of exactly which poses, I would take these pictures on my fucking phone. The difference in quality is just going to be your editing skills, but, in terms of like really these aren't going to be, I don't care. This is hanging up in my living room. So what I need from you is the creativity. I need you to make me look better than I look. I need you to make me look funnier and happier. And you know what I'm saying? I need you to, let me say this, not that. Let me capture my happiness. I need you to know how to capture my full happiness and how to capture my full funniness. Like, which pose should me and my wife do, or with my kid? Like, that's your craft. That's your beauty. That's your art. Contracting, same thing. If I say I want to, an addition to the gym, and this is what I want that to be. This is what I'm trying to build. All right, then they should be like, all right, so like, what's your vision for it? Like, what does it look like? What's the feeling you get? I want it to be very rich. I want it to feel very classy. I want it to feel, I want them to be able to take the word feel and figure out what to create from that. Mm-hmm. And if you're good at that, your business is going to fucking skyrocket, in my opinion. Are there going to be people who tell you literally exactly what they want, how they want it? Yes, but I think that's very few and far between. I don't think there's a lot of people that can literally say, I need you to do it this and this and this and this. Because everyone's job would be really fucking easy if that's what people did. Right? If someone came to me to train them and they said, all right, Bart, I would like a 4-day plan. And on day 1, I want it to be these exercises at these rep ranges. And I need, right? I'm like, then what do you need me for? You just did it all yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And no, instead they're like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I don't like. This is where I'd like to be. I got you. And I bridge those two things together. The better you bridge those two things together, instinctively, carefully, and very straightforward, the better you'll do. And I think that goes for any profession.
So is you painting that vision for the photographer, like, or for your contractors, let's say, is that the same type of vision building as like with your team, let's say?
So
does it require the same kind of like skill set, I guess?
Vision building for the team, no. Because the vision I'm giving the contractor is ambiguous, whereas the vision you're giving your team is definitive. When you're in charge of a team and you're trying to let them know what the fuck all their hard work is for, you need to be able to paint an extremely vivid picture of what it will look like, feel like, sound like, smell like. If I am open-ended with my team and I say things like, all right, guys, we're all going to be super successful. If you guys keep working hard, all of you will make more money. And that's like all I leave it at, like, you're losing your team. Not only are you losing your team, you'll lose the people who try their fucking asses off because they'll have so little direction that they'll try their asses off in the wrong direction. And then you'll start reprimanding them. And you'll be so angry and confused as to why they just don't understand what the fuck you want them to do. And then you'll harp on them over and over. And the guy who's actually committed will fucking quit. Because he won't understand what the hell you're trying to have them do. And every single time they try, they get their ass kicked for it. So then eventually they're like, fuck it. So if you're building your vision as a team leader, you need to be able to very, like I said, directly correlate effort and outcome. If you guys do these things are where we're going to end up. Now, just like me, I don't know exactly what that means, because if we all row the boat together, I don't know how much further down the river we're going to get. Because if we all row together really hard, we'll go 200 meters past what I think is possible. If one person's not rowing very hard, we'll go 50 meters shorter than what I think is possible. So I'm not going to tell you the destination point, but I'm going to tell you is what it's going to be like when we're there. What you don't want to do is you don't want to set like dates on when things are going to happen. Because as you just saw, now I have to pay for another fucking cable and I have to go spend time repairing it, which that time will have been used to do something else that may have pushed us forward. And now that is going to slow our progress down. Very small portion, but it's an example. Right? So as a leader, I cannot say we will have nothing but sunny days for the next 37 days. And because we have nothing but sunny days, we will end up at this point. What I can say is if we all fucking do these things that are our own unique responsibilities and we do them all effectively and we all give everything we've got to doing them, this is what we will be able to do. This is what the landscape will look like. We will be able to make 20% more salary. We will be able to generate another addition to the gym. We will be able to finally get the speaker system that we've been wanting. Like that type of stuff I can say. But to say, hey, on January 15th, we will buy a speaker system if you guys all work your asses off until January 15th. You know, I have been subjected to that, you know, personally when, you know, promotions or something were given dates, right? And that had happened a lot in the company because, again, the company was growing and everyone was learning. You know, now I'm in complete understanding as to why it was done the way it was done and how they learned the lesson just like I'm learning the lesson of this is why you don't do it. You don't tell your staff if they do something or even an individual. If you don't know for a fact that that date actually is the date something's going to happen, you're either going to have a conversation about why it's not happening on that date, which is, again, not going to be great, or you're not going to say anything about it at all, which I've had both happen to me as an employee.
Which one's worse?
Not saying anything at all by a large margin. Because then, dude, any time that you're left to your own devices in terms of what to think, or you have to create the answer you think, it's always infinitely worse than the real fucking answer. Always. You always, even if you give them the benefit of the doubt, like what you're doing is you're generating falsehoods in your mind that you, for subconscious reasons, make real. And then you make decisions off of real information that isn't real. Does that make sense? And then you go down and then when you actually have that conversation with them, they're like, where the fuck did you get any of that? Why did you think we didn't care? Why did you think we forgot about you? We've been working our dicks into the dirt trying to make this happen. And you think that we're against you? Well, guys, 5 months ago was the day you told me I'd get this promotion, and not a word has been said about it. In fact, last week that guy was given a raise, and I didn't even get spoken to about my promotion. So how the fuck do you think? Of course I think you forgot about me, or you don't give a shit, or you're just trying to use me, or you're just trying to abuse me, or you're just trying to take advantage of me, you know? On the flip side, if they had the conversation and say, hey, listen, I know we told you September 15th we're going to be able to give you that next step. But because of these reasons, that's not going to happen September 15th. That doesn't mean that's not going to happen, but it's not going to happen September 15th. Okay. Better because I'm in the story. I understand what's happening and I don't have to make up my own story. That's number one. But number two, you do that 2 or 3 times to a guy, they're not going to listen to you when you say the next September 15th time. They're going to go, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. And if you get your staff to the point where I believe it when I see it, you're fucked. You've lost them. Just like, it's no different than sports. You know, a football team, a coach keeps saying like, all right, guys, you know, we're right there. We're right there. We're right there. And you're getting your fucking just face pounded every fucking game. Eventually you're like, dude, we're not right there. So the vision needs to be very clear, but it can't be that definitive where, I mean, Campbell for the Lions, if you guys are football fans at all, you know, he came in. Everyone loves the fucking guy. They did a Hard Knocks, and you got to see him coach the team. The entire country fell in love with his head coach. He's amazing. That season, they won only like 2 or 3 games, right? This season, the success is starting to finally flourish. But it's taken him, I mean, fucking 40 weeks, 50 weeks, 60 weeks for any positive momentum to happen from all of his speeches and all of his practices. But the guy, you love him because he paints such a clear picture of what's happening, how it's going to get us to where we want to go, and how where we want to go looks. But he doesn't tell you this game or next game it will be better, because you can't. Don't lie. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or in 10 minutes. I don't know. So I can't ever definitively tell you like this is what's happening. I don't fucking know. All I do know is good work amounts to good outcomes. It's inevitable. If we keep doing good shit, good things will happen. It just that's how life works. If you are a good human being, positive things will be happening in your life, sprinkled with a fuckload of negative. And like we've talked about it in a couple non-episodes ago, you can't look at those negative quote-unquote things as anything other than the road to good things, because you can't have the good things without the bad things, right? So if I want the strongest cable possible, I need the weakest cable to break and then buy another fucking cable, and now the cable is really strong. Yeah. And I don't have to worry about the cables breaking, right? But no, that's not what people want. And it's unfair. It's an unfair expectation of yourself. It's an unfair expectation to ask the world exactly when things are going to fucking happen. Yeah. But that's what we have. That's what we have. We, here back to school, we don't prepare kids for unknowns. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, none of school is an unknown. Every single fucking thing has a syllabus, a week-by-week thing of what you're going to learn. Every day, this is what we're going to do. The test will be on this day. It will be this much of your grade. It is all extremely definitive.
Predictable.
Extremely predictable, because it's easy to control. Right? There's a lot less bitching. You know, pop quiz. I don't know if those are legally allowed anymore. Like did the woke destroy pop quizzes? Is this not legal anymore?
You might not even be allowed to call them pop quizzes anymore. I don't know.
So, they quizzes. I'm honestly asking, for those of you that will watch this, please answer me. Yeah. Are there quizzes and tests that come up that you don't know about? And if there are, do people protest? Like, does the school burn? Does someone get fired? Yeah. Right? Because tell me something more anxiety-ridden than showing up to school unprepared and then them saying there's a fucking test. That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair. You didn't tell us.
Which it's totally fair.
That's the world. It should all be fucking, every test in school should be random. Every fucking one of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How well have you learned what you've learned? Well, I'm going to randomly fucking ask you one day. Because that's what the world's going to do. How well have you experienced life?
So now this is all coming together. School, what I think they do not do a successful job in painting the vision of why you're learning the things you're learning. Because history, you can learn lessons from history.
Absolutely.
If you go to Catholic school, you can learn lessons from the Bible, whatever it is, but they don't paint that vision of this is how you can successfully apply it in life.
I think that's because it's extremely perspective driven, and school shouldn't give you a perspective.
Say more.
I can paint a vision for my staff and for my team because we've all agreed collectively that we have the same principles, morals, values, perceptions of life. And we're all trying to go in the same direction. So it's very easy for me to paint that picture and then be like, I'm 100% on board with that. But if the school paints the picture, it does paint the picture. It says if you fucking do all these premeditated tasks and you earn all of the points that we have to give, you'll get a job that gives you lots of dollars. That's what they do. And that's why we feel like losers, because we're like, I don't want to be a lawyer or a doctor or engineer. So why am I here? Because you're telling me that if I don't do your program, I'm going to end up something that I want to be. I want to be an electrician. Well, if you do our program, you won't end up an electrician. You'll end up a lawyer. Okay, but I don't want to be a lawyer. Crossroads.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I want to own my own business. Well, do good in school anyway. Why?
Yep.
Why? If I started my business at 15 in my garage with a couple pieces of equipment and gave people somewhere to work out, and I learned from 15 to 35.
Man.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's what they used to do back in the day. School's a privilege. Only the ones that really wanted to do white collar shit went to school. Everyone else, the blacksmith kid was blacksmithing at 8 with dad. And by the time he was 15, that dude was a veteran blacksmither. And then from 15 to 25, he was a creative one. And then from 25 to 35, he invented a whole new way of fucking doing it and built some machine that made horseshoes. And then he didn't have to work as fucking hard.
True story.
I have no idea. Look it up. Maybe. It sounds like it would work. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, totally.
Yeah. But we can't do that now. 8-year-olds can't be blacksmiths. They can. But you see what happened was a select few of people started abusing the shit out of child labor. Mm. And all of a sudden we had to start protecting everybody's kids from other people instead of parents protecting their own fucking kids. I don't know, man. It's something to think about, huh? I think we're onto something there. Create school and stop making it be so predictable. You can test people. You can test people and kids on a whole gambit of tests. Just don't let them know it's coming. And don't tell them what it's about. Mm. But they're going to then have biases. Biases toward white people or biases toward black people or Mexicans or girls or boys. It's going to be biased. Someone's going to complain because they didn't do well.
Yep. This lack of accountability is
But that's
crazy.
human nature,
so
bro.
Crazy, though.
How do we get out of that rigmarole? Someone has to create a test. Therefore, it will be biased.
Yep.
Sorry. I don't know what else. I don't know how to solve that problem. You know? You know? That's what everyone's problem with bigger government is like when you put people in charge of shit, like there's biases.
Yep.
Mostly self-biases because they want their own lives to be better. So they're going to pack their own pockets. They're going to make sure their families are fed. They're going to make sure their friends are okay. Like it's normal. That is a normal thing to do. You tell me that if you don't work at Starbucks, you don't hook your friends up with free fucking Starbucks? Of course you do. So why didn't you think the city official would do the same thing?
Yep. Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Oh, but the city official, they're fucking human, dude. President Biden's taking care of his son. You wouldn't take care of your fucking son? I'm not saying it's right. Don't let that motherfucker be president. But it is a human nature thing to do to protect your fucking family and to make sure you're okay. So when we put people in positions, we really have to start thinking about character more than we think about anything else at this point. Because we're thinking about race and we're thinking about gender and we're thinking about all these things instead of character. And if you do put a person in a high character role that has high character, you'll have the least amount of biases. You'll have the least amount of things to complain about.
Or someone that, and then they'll be able to observe their own biases.
They'll be self-aware enough to be like, hey, listen, this is kind of not fair to black people. Hey, this is kind of not fair to white people. Like, I think I'm overdoing it with women right now. I need to make this a little bit easier for guys, right? Like, but that takes time and effort on the public to learn about a person properly. Not just see like, oh, will you make this cheaper or that easier to obtain or this free? Or you give me $600 in a check for, for me not going to work for 17 months? Like, if we cared about character, and we pretend we do, but we don't. We pretend we do because we make a facade of character, but we don't. We don't care about character. But that's the only real way to like fix these things. Because it's true. If there was someone randomly giving tests to your kids that dictated how well they're going to do, and it wasn't premeditated and you didn't know what it was going to be about, that just leaves a huge opportunity for someone to be an asshole, right? If I'm the test maker and I know I have no accountability because no one knows what I'm going to test on, I can test on whatever I want. And so then you, a multi-billion-dollar family, come to me and say, you need your kid to do well this semester in school, and you make sure that I make it toward your kid's benefit, and you give me $8 million? Not many people are going to say no to that $8 million.
Would you?
Would I like to say I would? Yeah. Would I? I can't say, man. I've never been put in that position. Everyone wants to be a superhero and say no, but everyone has that fucking dark side thought process that says, take that fucking money and take care of your people. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to say no. I wouldn't. And there's multiple showcases in my own life where I have done the right thing, right? I have countless, examples of how I've done the right thing when very easily no one was watching. I could have done the wrong thing. But that's on a scale I haven't touched yet, So would I like to say no, I wouldn't? Yes, I would like to say that. But being my age now and the experiences I have, and you just don't know. You don't know until you're in the fucking situation. I can tell you right now that I've said no to a lot of things that a lot of other people would have probably said yes to because of my character. So I am confident in my character, but dude, $8 million is a lot of fucking money. But if you're in a position, like if I'm in a position where like thousands of families rely on me to be pure, it'd probably be a lot easier to say no, knowing that I care about, thousands of other families.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, like philosophically speaking, if you do the wrong thing and gain a benefit from it, that benefit is probably a detriment that you just can't see.
Right.
Right? Maybe I shouldn't have $8 million at that moment. Maybe that $8 million will fuck my life up at that moment.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the devil going, you need this key to fuck up your life.
Yeah.
Here you go. Right? So that's how I think about things. When things come up and they go against my character, like that's what I think. I think like I'm not, if this goes against my character to obtain it, I shouldn't have this right now. Like it's better for me not to have it. No matter how, and this goes back to the connecting the dots. I can't connect the dots how me getting $8 million right now will fuck my life up. Can't do it. For me, it sounds like it would solve a lot of my problems, right? But you can't connect the dots looking forward. So who the fuck knows if I get that 8 mil, someone might fucking kill me in the parking lot. Who knows, dude? Right. So, yeah, I think we're on to something with the school thing. Obviously, there's a lot of kinks to work out because 45 minutes isn't enough to change the entire schooling system. However,
we did it, guys.
Figured it out. Hey, first state to impose this. I'm moving there. But yeah, dude. If you're trying to emulate life, if you're trying to get people ready for life, it has to be random. It has to be, can't see it coming. It has to be. You have to be prepared. You have to be constantly prepared. Well, what do I prepare for? Exactly. And that's why you just earn experience points. You just fucking learn everything there is to learn. You can say, hey, this year, these materials are going to be important for you. And just leave it at that. Because if you think about it, oh no, my alarm's going off. I didn't see Ed's truck yet, so we still got a little time.
All
right. Because if you think about it, a lot of what school doesn't teach you is how to study or how to learn. It teaches you what to learn and when it's due. But the in-between point, like there's people that try to help you, but in general, speaking, there's so many handheld moments where you really, if you want to pass, you don't have to do a lot of work to pass. Truly. There's enough study partners and right, like study halls, and
I did not earn my high school.
That's what I'm saying.
Straight up.
Yeah, me either.
Straight up.
I'm sure at least half of the shit that I turned in was done by a teacher.
Yeah.
Right? Someone helping me. But I wanted to finish, so I knew where to go, and I knew who was going to do it for me or help me. If we just say, hey, at the end, you know, or during this process, these materials are what you have to learn, like, that will teach you, I have to stay consistent. I have to sit on a schedule. I have to make myself do this because no one's making, like, why do so many kids flunk out of college? Because finally no one forces them to go to class. And so they're like, well, I'm not going to class. I'll be fine. They have no idea how to study on their own. They have no fucking concept of how much effort it takes to learn something or any of that, right? College doesn't care because you already paid them the money to go. I don't give a fuck if you flunk out. Thanks for your 80 grand, you know? So why not have school from fucking high school or middle school start that way? Why is there attendance? Why is there, like, why? Isn't the ability to execute these ideals the test? So if you can't execute them, you get a bad grade. Why does anything else matter? My wife tells me all the time, she's a teacher, she's a special ed teacher, and she's like, there's these programs now where you can test out of high school, essentially. Like a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old can literally get their diploma because there's like, you go to this one school and there's packets that you fill out. And once you fill out enough packets, you can take the test and then you're fucking done. That's your high school. You're done. And then she's like, because she knows how I am. She goes, you would pass, you would be done early because you understand things and you can put things together. Like, you're resourceful. Like, if you want to do something, you do it. She understands that about me. And she has kids like that in her school. Well, they're smart. They're very intelligent. They're just hella fucking bored. Yep. Extremely bored, uninterested, you know, concerned about other shit because this matters so little to them. That was me. So maybe that's a lesson to be learned. Let's say if you're not interested in the school talk that we're talking, you don't have kids or whatever, but just think about it in your own world. Think about, like, every day being that kind of schooling of, like, every day there's going to be a test on something, and it's not going to tell you what it's about. So you have to stay prepared. You have to stay up on your shit because every day life's going to ask you to showcase something you know. And if you're spending all of your time watching TV or playing video games or in fantasy land and you're not really brushing up on anything, you're not really, like, experiencing life, every time you're going to fail that fucking quiz. And then eventually you're not going to want to go to school anymore. If you can catch what kind of innuendo I'm throwing out there. If life is a test and life is school and you just keep failing at it, no wonder you want to fucking not go. Right? So, I don't know. Prepare yourself. Learn some shit. Do some things. Paint some pictures. Read some books.
Be a lifelong learner.
Be a lifelong man. Lifelong. That never should end. Always go to the gym. Always keep your body prepared. Keep your mind prepared. Keep your spirit prepared. Talk with God, the universe, on a regular basis. Read books about things that people have done that you haven't done that you think is interesting. Go to the gym and see if you can do movements that you didn't think you can do. And it doesn't have to be even like power cleans and shit. It's just, can you do a somersault? You know, like, it's simple. But if you keep yourself prepared, you'll be super surprised how well you do on the tests.
The formula is simple.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's not easy, but it's simple.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not really sure how the vibe of that whole thing is, but it is.
I digged it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It was deeper.
Honest. Yeah. I think those are good existential questions.
What did you get from it today?
For me, still the vision painting is like something that I'm trying to develop and painting that vision for like people that I'm bringing on and how to do that and not putting these deadlines in place, not making it like not making it set, but making it clear.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I described that.
No, that's exactly right. You make it very clear how we're getting to our goal, but you don't tell them when we're getting to our goal.
Yeah. That was good.
Unless you have a deadline,
Yeah.
Unless you're like, hey, dude, if we do this past December 9th, we're fucked.
Yeah.
So we got to get this done before December 9th.
Totally.
Okay. All right.
Don't be a pussy.
Right. Consent.
Ladies.
No. Stop. Don't even say the L word anymore.
Lovely.
Oh, okay. Bye.